Hey everybody, this is Randall for Farmed and Famous. We are getting ready to go to a fig event, and this will actually be the very first fig event that we are attending as so-called vendors, where we're going to actually have trees for sale. We're going to Sunset, Louisiana to Terry LeBlanc's house. I've opened up my spreadsheet, my inventory of everything that I've got out there of little trees that are ready to be sold. All right, first things first, we got to load our rack to hold all of our plants that we're going to be carrying. Basically, this is just some 1x6, and I took some 4x4 goat wire and just stapled to the top. And the reason I use this wire is our pots are 4x4. With the wire being 4x4, each square perfectly holds each plant upright. So we're going to throw this in the back, and happens to be this rack is 10 squares long and about 6 squares wide, so we should be able to haul plenty of plants just in that rack alone. We'll get a look at all the varieties we're going to be carrying, and we'll see if maybe we have to stack some off the side. Maybe I need to build a little bit bigger rack to hold more plants. We'll see how it works out. So I've got all my plants laid out in somewhat of an alphabetical order, starting with A this corner and ending in YOLO bypass down there. So it's easier for me to go right down my alphabetical list and pull the plants that people have requested that me bring. Stuff that's not been requested, I think I'm going to bring at least one of. Like, no one's requested a Bergen Unknown, but I'm going to bring one of those with me. I do have one Black Celeste left, but I know that's one that I got personally from Terry. I think Terry has a bunch of those, so I'm not even going to bother bringing the Black Celeste to this event. Battaglia Green and an Alma. And there's quite a few people asking for cherry cordial, so I'm going to bring quite a few of the cherry cordial trees. This seems to be a favorite among people right now. So as I'm pulling them in alphabetical order, I'm racking them in the back of my truck in alphabetical order. That way when I get to the event, I pretty much know where all the trees are at.
Observing this human in his natural habitat.
All right, we got everything packed. We're about halfway through our trip, and we're going to be staying at a campground tonight just outside of Sunset. So probably by the time we get there, we probably won't have time to hang out with anybody. We'll just grab some food, clean up, and then off to bed. And then tomorrow's the big day. Get to see everyone, get to trade some figs, and then we will start our trek back. But really looking forward till tomorrow. All right, we are back from the fig gathering over in Sunset, Louisiana, hosted by Terry LeBlanc and Miss Luby LeBlanc. Special thank you, those two, for putting all that together. We had an absolutely wonderful time, and if you missed it, you missed it. The weather was perfect. You couldn't ask for better weather. All right, so as we were coming into Sunset, Louisiana, we were turning on some of the back roads out where Terry and Miss Kitty live, and you turn off the paved road, and down the long dirt drive that they have. And you know you're right there when you start seeing all the horses in the stables, because Miss Kitty runs a horse therapy or riding stables. I'm not sure exactly what she does, but I know she works with a lot of kids out there. And she puts a lot of heart into that area, and it's absolutely beautiful going down their driveway, and you got horses in the horse stables. But when you go all the way down, all the way in the back is where they actually live. And they have a really nice country home with a nice setting and a pond in the back, and there's these big, beautiful oak trees, and there's a lot of shade. And so when we got there were already people that were pulling in and parking, and it was along their side backyard area underneath this big canopy of shade. And we had the absolutely best weather that you could ask for an event. I think the day's high was like 75, clear. We're under the shade trees, a little wind blowing. It was absolutely beautiful. So when we get there and we pull up and we find our spot, everybody's starting to get their trees out, and they're putting their trees, in their area that they're going to trade and sell from. People come over immediately and start helping us unpack what we brought. Now, let's talk a little bit about the situation. I talked a little bit earlier how we alphabetized everything in that rack system that you saw previous. And the intent was when I got there, I would know by alphabet where all the trees were going to be. I didn't have a place to take letter A out and put letter A down on the ground or on the table. It ended up being a big mess, and people were like, hey, do you have such and such, and where is it? And I'm like, you got to thumb through it, because whenever I was taking it out of the truck, things got shuffled around. So we had that racking system in the back of the truck. One of the things that I changed on it when I got back, because I realized, is it would have been a lot easier if I could just pick the tray up, with two people, one on each side, and just set the tray straight out onto the ground. That would have been a lot quicker and would have kept everything alphabetized. So what I did is when I got home, I flipped the tray up, I took some hard metal wire, and I stapled it all the way to the bottom, and I put some handles on the side of this. Now I can lift the tray up out of the bed of the truck whenever I'm selling or trading plants, and I can set it straight down. And I don't have to worry about trees getting out of order, so it helps with the organization a little bit better. Now Mike came over, and he had some milk crates. And what I really liked about the milk crates is you put 9 plants perfectly in the milk crates. And I was like, well, this is great. Absolutely wonderful idea that I could take 9 trees out and set 9 trees straight down. And I really love that idea. So you could try a racking system like I built. If you don't want to build that, try the milk crates. Maybe it'll work for you. I like both, and I can see myself using both. All right, so when we got there, we got the figs out on the ground. Everybody came by, and they were picking out their trades. They were bringing the trade over. Now, when you're on these Facebook groups or however you're talking to people, sometimes pre-trades happen. So there were people reaching out to me, and I posted my list. I said, hey, this is a list of stuff that I'm bringing to the event. And people were like, hey, are you willing to trade? I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you got? And they would present a list, and I'd say yes or no based on what I wanted to add to my collection or what I already have in my collection. So trades were made beforehand. So people were bringing me the trees that we agreed to trade. And so I came home, I think 7 new varieties of trees, but it's some that I really wanted to add to my collection. Some really nice looking trees too. I could tell you that there's a DC2 that I traded for, and I'm really glad to add Louisiana LSU variety, LSU DC2 to my collection. I was really happy about that. And I was really happy about the Verdelina del Nord for that trade. And I'm happy to get every one of them that I traded for. And I even bought some trees while I was there. Terry had a whole layout of trees. And he was talking afterwards, after most everybody left. He's like, hey, you have a red fig, and he showed a picture of this red fig. And Heather was there, and she made a wonderful fig cake. But she was like, "Oh, I love red figs. What do you got?" And he started showing the pictures, and I was like, I want one of those too. So we picked up some new trees from Terry, and I'm really excited about adding that to the collection. All right, so not only was this a fig event, this was also a eating event. So food was provided. I know that Miss Luby, I believe between her and Terry, there was sausage dogs, there were cakes. There were also people that had brought to sell jams and jellies. So we picked up one of every jam and jelly there was, because we've been going through a lot of jams and jellies here at the house, eating with our eggs and our toast. So we picked up some varieties. I picked up a mayhaw. Mayhaw, if you've never tried mayhaw jelly, that is the jelly of all jellies. That's the best jelly you've ever put in your mouth, I guarantee it. So we brought back a mayhaw, so I'm excited to try the mayhaw. So we brought home a lot of jellies. There were other plants there too. It wasn't just for figs, but if you had other plants to trade or sell, you could bring those plants along. And I could tell you, a lot of trades were made and a lot of buying and selling were going on. And I had a blast talking with everybody that I had met online, but I've never seen in person. We made a lot of new friends at this event. And I'm really looking forward to the next one that I get to go to. So no matter where these events are held in different regions, there are friends that will go to those events no matter what regions they're in. There are friends that will attend just events in those different regions. So it's always good to make those connections and keep those friends and keep in contact. We had an absolutely wonderful time. The trip was very enjoyable there. We stayed at a campground just waiting for the event to start. We got there the night before, set up the campground, and the campground we stayed at Bayou Wilderness was absolutely a great campground. That was right there in the area. So we also had a special guest at the event, Michael, which works for LSU, and he is in a plant breeding program. So I got to talk with him and make a connection. But he's in plant breeding. I think he specialized in pecans, and he's doing some other plant breeding. I don't believe he's in the fig breeding program, which how sweet would that be? But anyway, it was good to talk with him and share some knowledge and swap from some information. All right, guys, make sure you try to make it to one of these events. It's a wonderful time, no matter which one it is you want to go to. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite fig is. Maybe it's one that I've been wanting to add to my collection too. Remember, keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. Together, we're Flumpton Famous. We'll see you at the next fig event.